to the DVD. It's the ultimate podcast for women over 40 who are ready to take control of their health, ditch the diets, and lose weight for good. I'm your host and coach, Danya Powers. And today's episode's a big one because if you've ever been trying to lose fat and you feel like nothing's working, even when you're eating clean, working out, you might be stuck believing one or even more of the big myths that are keeping women from 40 actually seeing results. And I hear about them all the time. So I'm breaking down the top five myths that come at me pretty consistently in my DMs on Instagram. And they are the ones that are keeping you stuck, frustrated, and really ready to throw in the towel. And I'll give you the truth, the mindset shift, and a fix for each one. So let's go into the first one. And I think this one's the most dangerous one that comes at me because it was one of the ones that I believed for many, many years. And when I was younger, this actually worked. And that was you just need to eat less and move more. That's dangerous because, yes, a calorie deficit is necessary for fat loss. But when women over 40 take that to mean eat as little as possible, it backfires big time when you hit 40. Your metabolism is not broken, but it's incredibly adaptive. So the less you feed it, the more it conserves. Conservation means fat storage. So you have to think about your metabolism like your phone with the battery saver mode on. If you don't charge it with food, you are going to have a dim screen. You're going to have apps closing left and right. You are also going to have just a slower performance overall. So that's all going to be in the name of energy preservation. And your body does the same thing. When you chronically undereat, you are constantly in a state of preservation or storage. Think of it like this. It's like trying to run a household on candlelight instead of turning on the lights. How clean would your house actually be? How clean would your food actually be? Would you actually be able to cook meat to where it's done? Because you can't even see it. It's by candlelight. You're still doing something, but it's inefficient. It's stressful and it's unsustainable over time. I mean, God forbid we all have to go back to candlelight for light, right? We love our power. We love our electricity. So the fix is make sure you eat enough to fuel your metabolism and recovery. If you're listening to this and you're able to stop and write this down, go ahead and hit pause, grab a pen and pencil. You're going to write down this website. It is tdeecalculator.net. Make sure that when you put in your weight, your age, how active you are, put moderately active. Nobody's sedentary to where they're sleeping all day or sitting, 24 hours a day. Everybody moves a little bit. You're going to be surprised at how many calories you actually should be eating. And we're going to do a very minimal deficit to that, like 150 calories, maybe 200, and that's it. That is a healthy calorie deficit. And that's not what we're taught. We're taught stupid things like eat 1,500 calories or 1,200 calories. No, that's not true. You need to eat according to your weight, your height, your age, and your activity level. So that website will really help you. Within those calories, make sure that you prioritize protein at each meal. You need to be having 5 to 6 meals, breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack. There needs to be a 30-gram protein priority at each meal, if at all possible. So you're creating that small, consistent deficit instead of a starvation plan. And then cycle your calories to support hormone balance. So don't eat low carb all the time. Eat, low carb a couple of days and add a couple of high carb days in there because your body needs all of that to support hormones. Your body needs fat to support hormones. Those things are really important to have balance and to have energy. So you don't earn fat loss by punishment. You achieve it by fueling and supporting it. You're nourishing to flourish. Does that make sense? Nourish to flourish. So the other thing is you can't outrun a bad diet. So this kind of goes hand in hand with that. Or you can outrun a bad diet. So you cannot outrun a bad diet. You can't outrun a bad. I was like, wait a minute, what did I say? You cannot outrun a bad diet. If you try to do cardio, you cannot cardio your way out of nutrition. I've seen so many women just like punishing their bodies to death with intense cardio. And there's a point in time as we age that actually works us backwards. So your body doesn't work like a vending machine. You know what I mean? It's not about calories in versus calories out. That's like the biggest lie that is out there. If you've ever said that, smack yourself. It's not true. Not at this age. It's not the same thing. In the simple sense, it's honestly women when hormones and inflammation happen when they're over 40, those things, recovery, all these things play into whether you're going to lose fat loss or not. So it's kind of like trying to mop the floor. You're trying to mop up all the water on the floor and the sink is still overflowing. If you don't have control of the actual problem, you're not going to be able to mop up any of the water. You're doing work, but you're not solving the problem at the source. So I've had clients work out 6 times a week, drenched in sweat, tracking their calories and still not seeing results. I was group fitness instructor for 15 years of my life, and I was teaching 15 to 17 classes a week, drenched in sweat, not seeing results, really honestly gaining weight, which was just mind-boggling to me at the time. Why? Because of, the food quality, the consistency, making sure that I was in a proper calorie deficit. I was way deficited, way too low. And the stress levels, because of how much I was working out, were a mess. We're an absolute mess. So the fix, strength train to build and preserve lean muscle. When I hand a client a workout and I'm showing them these 3 workouts are the priority, your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday workouts are the priority. And they're just like, that's not enough. I should be doing more. No, because we're trying to preserve the muscle you have and build more. And these high intensity classes, if they're like 20 or 30 minutes, great. If they're over 30 minutes, they're burning muscle off. They are not burning fat. And we can't have that. We need to preserve muscle. Walking daily is so important because walking is like such a great cortisol reducer. I cannot say that enough. And just make sure that you are increasing your steps, making sure that you're getting about 6 to 8,000 steps a day, so that you can't. I mean, they've just shown it over and over and over in every country across the world. People that walk 6,000 plus steps live 10 to 20 years longer than the other people that don't. So it's just longevity you're looking at, not to mention the fact that you're going to pull your cortisol levels down, which may be a big part of the longevity, to be honest with you. Make nutrition a priority, especially protein, fiber, and blood sugar stability. So we're eating carbs, we're eating fats. We are not shying away from the things that help stabilize our blood sugar. So workouts support fat loss, but food drives it. It drives it. So movement's a tool, but the kitchen is the command center of that tool. And so you cannot outrun a bad diet, but we're going to focus on the diet. So that's going to be the thing that's running us. This is the one that I run into as well because I coach women over 40, and that is that weight gain with menopause is inevitable. I unfortunately became a statistic of menopausal weight gain because I was under eating. And that's what I run into most of the time with women. If your body's in a constant state of famine, it's in a state of storage, like I said. So weight gain's not necessarily inevitable for everybody, but menopause brings changes, and you have to know how to work with those changes and not against them, because muscle depletion is going to put you in a state of, weight loss and fat gain and conservation. But we want to be able to lose weight fat, not weight muscle. So it doesn't erase your ability to lose fat when you're going through menopause. It just means that you need to change your strategy. That's all that it means. So hormonal shifts can impact sleep. We've talked about that on other podcast episodes. It can affect cravings. It can affect muscle retention. We just talked about that. But those things can be managed with targeted weight training and targeted nutrition. So you have to keep that in mind. Let's talk about Kathy again. We've been talking about Kathy a lot, but Kathy G, she came to me post-menopause feeling completely defeated. Here she was, trying to stay really, really healthy. She was all in. She was doing all the things. She thought her body was done changing, and she was like, "I've just given up. I've just decided this is how my body is. My big belly is just part of my life now." But we adjusted her nutrition to include a lot more food. She's 5'8". She is not short. And we increased her protein. We made sure that we are reducing her inflammatory foods. We focused on resistance training. She was doing like body pump class after body pump class after body pump class. So she was really burning off more muscle than she was fat. And we worked on prioritizing her sleep. And now she's down. She's down her 19 pounds. She's down 22 inches, and she's stronger than I've ever seen her. So menopause isn't a wall. It's a fork in the road. So it's not something that's going to stop us. We don't stop it. We just take a different route. Does that make sense? And it still leads us to our goals. So we have to just be mindful of that. Don't get so discouraged with it. The way to battle it, the way to combat it is to train with weights 2 to 3 times a week so that you can maintain and grow muscle. How would you split that up? Monday, do a chest and a tricep workout. Wednesday, do a leg workout. And Friday, do a back and a bicep workout or a pull workout. Those things are going to keep your body getting strong. Keep it really simple. The workouts don't need to be, 2-hour workouts. 20 to 30 minutes is all that you need. And that consistency within that will help. Focus on sleep. Sleep is a huge problem with menopause. Those hot flashes will wake you up in the middle of the night, but if you can get into a routine that you get 7+ hours of sleep, that's going to manage your cortisol and that's going to manage your hunger hormones, which desperately come into play with weight gain. You also really at this age, you probably have noticed this already, but alcohol does not metabolize the same at this age. So the body perceives alcohol as a toxin the very second that it enters your system, and it will literally stop everything else that's going on to get that toxin out. It's most definitely not going to allow you to lose fat while you have a poison in your system. Once it clears out, it takes about 36 hours, depending on how fast your metabolism is. Then it will go back to weight loss. And so that's why you struggle with weight loss when you add alcohol. So try to reduce alcohol, try to reduce processed sugars. Don't be eating like boxes of cookies. That's obviously going to make you gain weight, but try to get your good foods in and just limit the amount of alcohol. I'm not saying you can't drink adult drinks, but it can intensify menopausal symptoms big time. It can really mess with hormones and hot flashes as well. We don't want any of that. This is a new season. It's not the end. What worked in your 20s doesn't work now. But that's true for a lot of things. I mean, we're tolerant of a lot of the things that we were when we were 20. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't have time for this crap. Moving on, right? So that's true for your body too. Your body's like, I don't have time for this crap. We're moving on. So it doesn't mean that nothing will work. You just have to know that you've got to work with yourself, not against yourself. The number 4 myth that I run into a lot are, I'm a detox coach. Can I have a detox? Quick fixes, jumpstart results, those things. If it promises 10 pounds in 3 days, it's a lie or a temporary illusion, or it's just taking off muscle. That's how what you lose in 10 pounds in 3 days. Detoxes are a marketing trick. The dieting industry, the toxic $1 billion dieting industry, it's depending on you spending $39 on a cream. It's it's depending on you buying some stupid, drink that says it's your GLP-1 because that's the thing. Like that's the in fad thing right now in 2025. Your liver, your kidneys, and your digestive system are your detox team. So if it's your liver, your kidneys, and your digestive system, do you actually need the cream? No, you don't need that. What you need is consistency, not a cleansing. It's like taping over your engine light. We've talked about this before on the podcast. You didn't fix the engine, you just ignored the signal. Like, my engine light's on. I don't want to look at it anymore. Well, your body is giving you that engine light. And so we need to make sure that we're focusing on daily fiber, hydration, whole foods, making sure we're getting plenty of protein. Those things support a natural detox. The meal plans that I program for clients, they're always like, I need a gut friendly meal plan. All my meal plans are gut friendly. I need a diabetic friendly meal plan. All my meal plans are diabetic friendly. Why? Because I want your gut healthy. I want your blood sugar happy, and I want you feeling amazing. And so immediately we address all of the things that women over 40 go through right off the bat. I'm not trying to do it fast though. We're not trying to do this fast. If you're looking for a fast, result, if you're looking for a detox coach, that's not me. Go find a different coach. It's not. I don't play games and I don't mess with those things. Replace a reset mentality with routine building because your habits are where it lies. Our divas, I coach the 4 pillars. That is our steps. That's our water. That's getting our strength training workout. What is our 4th one? Oh my gosh, I always forget. Water, steps, food, and our food, of course, the food. So results take time. Detoxes don't teach you anything sustainable. They teach you how to be hungry for about 3 days. And then when you start eating food again, you get it all back, right? They only prove that you can suffer for short periods of time. Congratulations. Way to go. So we don't want to keep doing things like that. And the last but not least myth that I run into all the freaking time is if you were more disciplined, you'd be further along. I call the bullshit card on this one because it breaks my heart. So many women believe that deep down. And it's not true. I don't want you to believe that about yourself because you don't have to be like insanely disciplined to be further down the line. We just have to figure out something that's going to work for your life. You're not undisciplined, you're overwhelmed. You're undersupported. I get so mad at spouses of how unsupportive they are. They're sitting there eating french fries while their wife is suffering, trying to get healthy and get strong, and they're bringing home donuts. There's some support that needs to happen for us to all get healthy together. You're probably following advice that was never meant for you in the first place, to be honest. So many of the plans that are out there, so many, I'm not even going to name them because it's kind of sad and depressing, but they're designed for men. And they're designed for men between the ages of 25 and 35. So that's never going to be me. So it's very likely that that's never going to be you. So when you get a plan, It's really possible that that's what that was designed for. I had a client that told me she was ashamed every Sunday because she would start Monday and then unravel by Friday. But when we broke down her week, she was doing 10 times more than she realized. You have to give yourself credit for what you're actually doing. And she judged herself against a highlight reel that wasn't even real. She was really comparing herself to something that wasn't even a real situation. When you start comparing yourself to the other people around you, there's so much death in comparison. You have to stop that because it's your journey. You are beautifully and uniquely made for purpose. We have to really embrace who you are on your journey to move you forward. So focus on one anchor habit at a time. You can find more stuff about my anchor habits in I think the episode is called The Key to Consistency. And so you want to track your wins. You want to track, what we do a non-scale win every week. Like, how are your clothes fitting? How's your energy? What choices did you make? Did you make some good choices this week that didn't have anything to do with food, but you made good choices? You chose to be more active. Did you get more sleep? Are you giving yourself credit for that? How about your water intake? Are you getting your water intake every single day? Are you actually checking those off and being like, woohoo, go me? Because you should. Because it's important to realize that you're not chasing around myths. You are setting goals that feel empowering, not punishing. And that's how we live real life. You don't yell at a seed for not being a tree yet, like, dang it, why are you a tree? That doesn't even make sense. Why would you do that? It's the same thing. You're watering it, you're giving it light, and you're trusting the process. Like, eventually, that seed gonna be a tree, right? That's true for your journey. You're gonna keep watering it. You're gonna keep doing your steps. You're gonna keep getting your strength training workout. You're gonna be fueling your body, and eventually, you're gonna be a tree. You're gonna be amazing, right? Discipline without compassion becomes abuse. And self abuse is consistent in women. We've been taught every ad. I don't watch commercials for the biggest reason that I feel like women are, there's so much perfection put upon us inside of commercials. And I hate them. So that becomes self abuse. And you have to reach for compassion instead of abuse. You don't need to be harder on yourself. You need to be more consistent with the plan that fits your actual life. So here's the truth. You can lose fat after 40. You can. I have women in their 60s, 70s, feeling amazing, feeling strong, losing fat like crazy. You can feel strong. You can feel confident. You can feel vibrant. But it will never happen if you keep chasing lies and throwing money at $1 billion toxic diet industry. 100% is never going to change you. You're just throwing your money away and they're counting on you doing that. They're $1 billion industry for a reason. You need a plan that gives you structure, that gives you strategy, and that gives you support. One that's going to evolve with your body and honor it in the season that it's at. I have got 4 more openings in the month of June. So if you are looking for a one-on-one coach and you are serious about having a coach, message me the word ready on Instagram, Danya Powers EC, or on TikTok, Danya Powers EC. You can also find me on Facebook as Danya Powers and on YouTube, Empowered Coaching with Danya Powers. You can also find me on the website, www.empowereddcoaching.com. We would love to have you join us. And until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas. Thanks for tuning into this latest episode of the Diva Deets. If this helped you and you found it valuable, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Ready for more support? Join my free Facebook community or join my coaching community. The details are in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas.